In this video, I'm going to show you how I went from looking like that at 215 to now this at 200 pounds. And I'm even showing some ab definition. I made the decision to start eating healthier on July 14th, actually. And ever since then, I've made some choices to lower my calories so I can slowly lose body fat over time. And you know what the best part is? I never had to go to bed. I never had to go to bed hungry. I never had to starve myself. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, my workouts, and some hacks so you can lose weight without much effort. If you're somewhat serious about making some sort of change, stay tuned because believe me, it's pretty doable. If you're a returning viewer, how's it going? Welcome back.
Click the subscribe button.
I was going out to eat often, I was drinking a decent amount of beer, and I just started to feel like shit. Worst of all, it felt like I was getting a gut. Scratch that, I was getting a gut. I made the decision to start eating healthier, and right away, I knew what needed to be done. I needed to tackle my breakfast. That had by far the most amount of calories for my day. And when I say a lot, like it's actually a lot. And I know some of you are gonna say, oh Prophet, you're overreacting. How bad could it be? My average breakfast at the time included 4 scrambled eggs with cheese, 4 strips of bacon, 4 sausage links, and then 4 home-style waffles on top of that. It was like the goddamn Wendy's 4 for 4. And if I really wanted to treat myself, I'd get the blueberry waffles. I know, it sounds crazy. This heart attack inducing, pot belly growing, artery clogging meal was my breakfast for 3 years. I'm not kidding, I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. Honestly, if it wasn't for my running, who knows the kind of dad bod I'd have right now. But luckily, because I'm active throughout the years, I was able to not blow up, but the signs were starting to show. At this point, you're probably wondering, Prophet, why the did you start eating like that? I might as well have gone to McDonald's every day and gotten breakfast, right? So if you've seen the previous video, which should be somewhere up here, of how I put on a lot of muscle in about 1.5 years, that's how it came to be. So I was trying to get as much protein in as I can, and that was a breakfast that really did a lot of that for me. But little did I know, I was pretty much perma-bulking, which is something that you don't want to ever do.
I know what men can do when they're angry.
That's why bulking is such a tricky thing, but that's for another video. Instead of that horrendous meal that I've had for years, I swapped it out for a couple boiled eggs, 2 to 3 sometimes, some toast, buttered toast, and sometimes a protein shake, and that would be it for my breakfast. I know that switch might be kind of hard for some people, but I didn't mind it. I actually started to like it. That doesn't mean you have to, but this is something that I've made the switch to. On days where I don't feel like having boiled eggs, because I'm not a psychopath, I have a PB&J, and if I haven't had that protein shake yet, I would do that. Just that in itself, instead of eating that crazy amount of like calories with that other meal, what the fuck? Nets me a lot of calories saved and a lot of calories burnt if I stay consistent. As for lunch, which I have a little later in the day, I'd have like a light snack. If I haven't had that protein shake yet, I'd have it then. Or last night's dinner, maybe some nuts. Pause. But yeah, it's usually something small. I'm gonna show you some easy meals to get you shredded and start losing some body fat without trying anything like paleo, I don't know if I said that right, intermittent fasting, or being forced to eat bull balls like the Liver King. The first meal that I started eating during my lunch was a pasta salad. When I first started out, I was like, the fuck is a pasta salad? Is it like cold spaghetti? This meal isn't heavy and it wouldn't make you feel groggy after your lunch break. It's low in calories and tastes great, honestly. The second meal that I would recommend is an Italian wrap. In the past, I was never a big fan of cold sandwiches, but Quick Check just won my heart. I mean, look at it. The crispiness of the lettuce, perfect harmony of ham, salami, and vegetables. Making an Italian wrap is pretty simple. I mean, there's loads of websites out there that can show you how to do that. Just be careful of how much dressing you use. The ranch dressing that I have has a serving size of 2 tablespoons for 110 calories. It's very easy to use, anywhere from like 4 to 6 tablespoons for whether it's like a salad or in this case a wrap. So that racks up calories pretty fast, so just be mindful about that. And on top of that, if you haven't had a protein shake yet, go ahead, get your protein in, because while you're trying to burn fat, you want to also keep your protein high so you can at least keep the muscle that you have, or better yet, grow some muscle. And that's just going to further accelerate your fat loss in the future. Now it's time for dinner, but I'm going to be real with you. If you're like me and you hate cooking every day, make sure to meal prep. Make enough where you don't have to cook every single day, so you don't have to worry about that stress all the time. This will keep you on track and reduce the temptation of having, I don't know, like Chipotle for dinner, or God forbid, getting like a juicy McNasty burger. Here's the list of some of the dinners that I eat. Roll the credits. Oh yeah, Taco Tuesdays. Speaking of tacos, we actually use HelloFresh for some of our dinners, and they taste amazing. This video is not sponsored by them. I've been using them for like a couple years now, and the tacos especially, just amazing. If you don't like grocery shopping, you can use something like HelloFresh, or Factor is like a very popular one on YouTube. And HelloFresh, if you're watching this, sponsor me. Free advertisement. Been using you guys for a while, so holla at your boy. But wait, before you go any further, I want to talk about two different aspects of my eating habits that had a dramatic impact on me losing the weight that I did. Number one is watching my portion size. Before eating healthier and trying to burn fat, I didn't really care about how much I ate. I just ate until like I felt like, you know what, I feel stuffed and I had enough. You got to be real with yourself and ask, am I overdoing it, or is this enough where I'm not going to be feeling groggy or stuffed, essentially? Number two is, are you going back for seconds? The meal that you might be eating for lunch or dinner should be tasting good, but similar to point number one, going back for seconds is just going to increase your calories and just throw off your day. My strategy to combat this is to wait 5 to 10 minutes before you think about going back for seconds. Usually for me, my appetite usually dies down if I wait, and even if it does, drink some water or a protein shake to fill up your stomach. Now, I told you what I ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but none of that's going to matter unless you know what your BMR is. Your BMR is your basal metabolic rate. Essentially, it means if you're at rest and doing nothing all day, how many calories are you burning? That number is going to be different from person to person.
It's over 9,000!
This number is essential because it tells you how to structure your eating habits. If your number is higher, you can incorporate different meals compared to someone that has a lower BMR. There's several websites online that can give you a rough estimate, but I found out using an InBody, it's pretty much a machine that gives you like a breakdown of water weight, bone and muscle mass, and your body fat percentage. And with that number, you can structure your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and incorporating exercise will allow you to get into a calorie deficit to slowly lose weight over time. And no, you do not have to track your calories on a day-to-day basis forever. What I often tell my clients is to track their eating habits for like a week. Get that average and then work from there. That way you do not have to be counting calories forever. So I've given a breakdown of my eating habits, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, including snacks. So let's talk about the working out. I like running, so I try to do that for at least 2 to 3 times a week. Ideally 4, but that's honestly very rarely done. These runs usually last 20 to 40 minutes, depending on the mileage, and I like it. I burn a decent amount of calories and I feel good doing it. If you're interested in running, you might want to check out my first video. I'll link it somewhere up here. How I lived like David Goggins for 72 hours, and yeah, it was quite a trip. Oh, and subscribe while you're at it, okay? I'm by no means saying you have to run. There's so many different ways of working out and moving to burn calories, but that's just what I like personally. But as long as you're moving, I would suggest like circuit training or interval training. And as a side note, to keep track of my calories that I burn, I use MyZone. Like this. Hold up, I'll be right back. This is the fitness tracking device that I use. They have an app too, it's called MyZone. And pretty much it tracks your heart rate, of course, and your workout intensity, most importantly. So there's like 60%, 70%, 80%, 90. I don't know about 100, I've never gotten there. I don't want a heart attack. This is to make sure that you're working out in the right intensity to burn the most calories efficiently. But there's a lot of tracking apps out there like this, but this is one that I use for like 2 to 3 years now, because walking can burn calories, and it will, but it takes longer. It takes more time, and it's a slower process. So if you're working out in that 60, 70, 80% range for your workouts, these devices help you with that. On the days that I'm not running, I like to lift because I'm not trying to lose my arms especially, or my chest. I don't care so much about the legs, just a little bit. Because of my long distance running, I can lose muscle that way, so I'm counteracting against that by lifting on a weekly basis. So as seen in my last video, I stick to a lot of compound exercises, so a lot of squats, deadlifts, pull-ups, bench press, stuff like that, to keep the most muscle that I can. And like I said, I'm trying to keep these babies for as long as I can while I do this self-destructive thing called running. So I lift about 3 to 4 days a week, and with the running, that lets me burn a decent amount of calories. And on the days where I really feel like torturing myself, I'll do like a hybrid workout where I run for like a mile and a half, usually on the treadmill, and then I'll go with my compound exercises. And in between those sets, I'll do like quarter-mile runs. That way I'm getting some HIIT in there too. I like it. It feels good when I'm done. It sucks ass when I'm doing it, but when I'm done, I'm like, it feels great. If you really want to challenge yourself, I'd say give it a try. If you're a beginner, instead of running in between sets, I would say walking at like a slight incline. Since we're talking about walking, I want to give a quick little tip. I see this so often in the gym, and no matter what gym it is, I see people walking on like a 10% incline on the treadmill, which is good, and then they're just holding the handles. Like, you're defeating the purpose of walking on an incline. It's to make the walk harder. Holding on to the handles just makes it easier. And what does that mean? You're putting in less effort and you're burning less calories. So put the treadmill to a height that's challenging for you, but that's comfortable enough where you don't have to use the handles. I don't know about you, but when people normally go outside for a walk, they don't have something tugging them to help them go faster. I mean, I would hope not. Okay, so we're getting near the end of the video. Now I want to give out some quick tips and hacks to burn some extra calories and for you to avoid some pitfalls. Tip number 1 is just getting more steps in. Like I said earlier in the video, there's a lot of fitness tracking apps out there that can track the steps that you take. The more you take, the more calories burnt. Pretty simple. For tip number 2, I would say to watch your portion sizes when it comes to nuts, trail mix, hummus, and even things like condiments. With moderation, these things aren't bad, but without good portion sizes, these things can easily increase your calories per day. The next time you eat something like trail mix or nuts, turn the container around and take a look at the serving size. It's very easy for someone to easily sit down and eat like 3 to 4 servings of that. The same thing that can be said with dressing too. Very easy to overdo a salad and turn it from something healthy to unhealthy. And I want to end this video by saying one last thing. Don't be too hard on yourself. I hear it all the time, people saying that they ate something unhealthy and so they might as well just give up and continue indulging in whatever it is that they're eating. Don't do that. You want to have a long-term mindset. Just because you had something unhealthy for lunch or dinner does not give you a pass to just give up and just have like another unhealthy meal and add on top of that. Make sure that next meal that you have is healthy and just continue from there, because on a day-to-day and week-to-week basis, that caloric deficit is going to add up to fat loss. Just make sure that you're not having like a breakfast like what I used to have, because at that point, you f***ed up. Well, there you guys have it. That's my eating habits and my workout plan that allowed me to lose about 12 pounds so far in about 2 months. If you guys found this video interesting, make sure to bench press that like button, subscribe, because I got a lot more content coming. And I have like 2 other videos that I made already, and I think you'd like to check them out. Until next time, profit out.